Like I said, I feel like he was the program. He ran the program.
I don't be getting to be like, you think you're bigger than the program. What exactly is the program, though? I haven't figured that out yet. I'm gonna have to do some research.
If you're working for a team, you have to be a team player, no matter if you're the biggest or the smallest. So DDG's new streaming group, the Capaholics, I think that's how you say it. Very interesting choice of name, by the way, because honestly, that doesn't roll off the tongue very easily at all. But anyway, maybe it's something they agreed on. I digress. That streaming group has ended quicker than a Mike Tyson fight. And not the Mike Tyson we saw out there fighting Jake Paul, prime Mike Tyson. They announced that this group was a thing like September 29th or something like that. And they literally had drama in it and people leaving the next day. A lot of these groups come out, especially when it seems to be groups that don't have a lot of chemistry. I think everybody kind of predicts that they'll eventually end up disbanding, but for them to break up in a day is actually probably the quickest breakup I've ever seen before in my life. Now, there were a couple reasons why they broke up, according to J Cinco and DDG. J Cinco said that he believed that DDG thought that he was bigger than the entire program.
Like I said, I feel like he was the program. He ran the program. You know what I'm saying? So a nigga kept adding me back and just tearing it down, like coming at a nigga in real disrespectful ways, talking to a nigga like a friend would never talk to, gang. Like, but evil is real though, gang. Really, niggas is really evil out here in this world, bro. For real, bro. Like to say a nigga drive, like to make fun of a nigga whip and discredit the success I made you and all that shit hurt, cuz like if a nigga said all that to y'all, bro, and this is just the service level, this ain't even the messages, but would have treated y'all how they treated me, gang, in that group chat, gang, like you would have left that shit. You wouldn't have stepped a foot in that shit.
Essentially, with that clip, I think he's saying that DDG feels like he's top dog. He treats everybody like he's under him. Now, keep in mind, this is what I'm getting from what J Cinco said, not what I believe. Honestly, I can see that because everybody in this group is not as popular as DDG. It wasn't like a bunch of forces colliding. It was more like really big top streamer gets a group of his friends and we all gonna make a group. It reminds me of that movie, The 5 Heartbeats, like where everybody's gathered around and I forgot what the lead singer's name, but he's like to another dude in the group and he's like, ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
Nobody's bigger than the group.
Y'all ain't stupid. I'm the one selling the records. They coming to see me.
They coming to see the Temptations.
Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
I mean, to a certain extent, from that standpoint, I really feel like that's probably where DDG probably came from. I could definitely see him thinking that because as y'all seen from the way he's active from his streams and videos, he's a person who takes his views, money more than anything.
Hey, Chad, y'all think I pocket watch too much? You think I talk about money too much?
Honestly, yeah.
Should I stop?
Yeah, you should stop. You talk about money too much.
You know, I really
the Shade talk about money too much.
The Shade don't talk about money.
Yes, you do. The Shade talk about money too much because you talk about money too much. Facts or not, bro? I really watch that game.
Very seriously. And to a certain extent, he seems like a type of person who that gives validation to him. So he might have felt like he was the top dog. Now, I do want to say that this is DDG's creation. I don't think anybody would look at the group and be like, yeah, there's a whole bunch of forces joining together like AMP, all of these people, Kai, Duke, Phantom, Agent, all of them had followings before they came together. And to a certain extent, these people did too. Most of the people in the group had followings directly because of DDG. Probably the only person that I could say is the Shade Frost, who really started his own wave. But even J Cinco, who's the second biggest compared to the rest of them, I would have never known about him if it wasn't for DDG. So I don't think it's really comparable to an AMP when it's like, I look at this group and I'm like, this is DDG and his friends, or so-called to be his friends, because that was one of the main reasons they said they broke up, because they're not friends. Or as Dub said, because certain people in the group were closer than others.
We all was a friend group, but the only thing between our friend group is that some people was cooler than other people, then some others was cooler than other, and then we all combined.
Honestly, when I heard him say that, I understand why it created turmoil in the group. But honestly, I don't feel like everybody has to be like close for a group to work. Ultimately, for a group to work, I feel like people just have to understand their role. When I say role, I mean like this person might be the funny person. This person might be the serious guy. Even if you look at a group like A&P, when you think of Duke, you think of the handsome dude who pulls a lot of girls. When you think of Kai, you think of the short dude. When you think of Phantom, you think of the big dude who's gonna steal your food. And I really feel like all of that is by design, and they all understand their roles perfectly. Now again, A&P is a lot different from this group because all of these people had their own way before they came together. But when they came together, they all understood the bigger program of making the dynamic between them work. Even if you think of something like a movie, that's basically what it is. This person is supposed to play this role to make the overarching story work. There's a hero, there's a villain. You have to play this role to make it make sense. And sometimes when groups like this are formed and people aren't really in tune with each other and they're not friends, they're not in this for the love of the content, they're just trying to all get bigger. Sometimes those personalities could clash and they can end up breaking apart, which we've seen with multiple groups. I think the biggest recent example of that is probably FaZe, because Max left ultimately because he felt like the people in the group weren't his friends. Weren't actually his friends at least, and that he needed to break apart from the group to be bigger, which honestly I don't feel like there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes you do have to set yourself apart to realize your full potential. If Michael Jackson can do it, then anybody can. When people come together to join a group, not because they genuinely like making content with each other, not because they like playing their role within that group, it will always, 100%, always lead to problems. Now, to Jay Cinco saying that he thinks DDG is bigger than the program, I 100% get where he's coming from. Like I said, just from appearance online, I don't know DDG off camera and how he acts, he does seem to be a person who kind of acts like he's the biggest thing walking.
I'm gonna get when like, you think you're bigger than the program. What exactly is the program though? I haven't figured that out yet. I'm gonna have to do some research.
If Cinco saw this as more friends doing content together more than like a business relationship, then I can see how that could cause issues. Honestly, this is like why I never mix friendship and business stuff. Even if it's just the smallest disagreement with business, it can really break up friendships. I've seen it happen multiple times. I've seen it happen with some of my friends who tried to do clothing brands. I've seen it with friends who tried to like start businesses together. There is always gonna be a disagreement, especially if they are not super in tune with each other, that makes them break apart. It's very rare that you could go into business with your friends or family and it work out perfectly. Now, I do find it odd that they announce it, then a day later, they're already having problems, because that doesn't seem to be very likely. Usually it takes a few months or to a year for something like that to happen, especially when all these people collab already. But maybe, again, it was them trying to formalize it that led to the issue. Beyond that, the message I wanted to put out in this video, if you're working for a team, you have to be a team player, no matter if you're the biggest or the smallest. And sometimes to advance the whole team, you have to be willing to let somebody else stand in the spotlight. I even think about my time on a wrestling team. Whenever there's a friend group, I feel like beyond literally two, some people are going to be closer than others. And that's kind of how it was on our team. We had a group of 4 that was definitely closer than the rest of the team, or at least we were closer to each other than the rest of the team. But that didn't mean we didn't understand how to let other people shine sometimes, or let people get the development they needed so they'll be able to be successful in whatever they were trying to do. Now, I feel like content is a little different, but in a sense, it's the same, because it's a group of people who are working for a common goal, all trying to put in the work to get there. And honestly, if you're a person who has been running your own show, running your own ship, and suddenly sometimes you gotta step backstage, it's not always the easiest thing to do. Now, if you're on a group or friend group and somebody's not treating you right, which is also something that he alluded to, you shouldn't be in the group under any circumstances. Just like I told you earlier about that leader saying nobody's coming to see Otis, it should never be that. You should never put anybody down. Because even though people might have not bought the tickets for Otis, Otis might have played a vital part of making the whole thing run together. There's so many parallels and different examples you could bring, but even to keep it in this space, you could think about A&P. Look at Davis, probably the least popular member of A&P. I think he literally went on the street one time, was talking to people, and they didn't even realize he was in it.
Wait, Kasha, that's here?
Yeah, the whole AMP.
The whole AMP's here? Are you serious?
But a lot of the time, the members of A&P refer to Davis as the group leader because he plays a vital role behind the scenes. So even though on the forefront or in the spotlight, we might not see what Davis does, obviously it's clear that he does something that's very important to the group. Another example could be the Dream Team. I forgot the player's name, which actually in itself is a good example of what I'm talking about. But he was like a white point guard, and he didn't get a lot of spotlight or attention for what he was doing. I remember at one point they were saying how like Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, all of them, they couldn't walk down the streets without somebody swarming them. But in the documentary, they had a literal clip of him just walking down the street and nobody bothering him.
fellow Americans. Really not much different from Michael Jordan walking through here. Hi.
Hi.
Are you an American?
But of course.
You look wonderful.
Why, thank you.
You like the Dream Team, huh?
But of course. We met Charles Barkley the other night.
Did ya? He's a hell of a player. See, you got all the players right there on your shirt. Is Charles the only one you've ever seen?
It's the only one I've ever met.
Hey guys, do you know any of those guys on there?
That is Jordan.
What? Who? Who's that?
That's my dad. Your dad?
That's your dad? Too bad he's not here.
You play on a team?
I do, yeah.
Who is that guy?
We're making a point that nobody ever recognized you. I hate this. I can't go anywhere without being bugged.
Now, does that mean he's less important because of that? No. He might not get the same level of recognition, but that doesn't make him any less important. Because I bet you without him, they probably would have had a significantly less chance of winning those Olympics. To make a group work, bruh, you gotta play your role. And everybody has to be clear what their role is. And if you're in a group and you don't like your role, just like Jay Cinco did, you might have to just get out of the group. That's pretty much all I gotta say about that. If you like the video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Hey, but look, before you go,
Bye.